insane. And so I'm sitting here, I'm watching it happen in real time. I'm like, they're not even trying to hide it from us anymore. Oh my God, it blows my mind, dude. So then I wake up the next morning and Facebook, gone. They deleted me completely. They were censoring me the very next day. The First Amendment is dead, you guys. The government has the technology to spread propaganda and misinformation like we've never seen in history. This is legit the Great Reset. It's happening right now. We deserve to know what's really going on. This is the Uncensored Truth. What's up, everybody? It's Jeremy with the Uncensored Truth, the podcast where I do my best to free your minds from the grips of the mainstream media by giving you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the uncensored truth. Welcome to the first episode. That's right, the journey starts today. This is going to be the beginning of something great, I hope. I also have Mic Drop, Mildly Intelligent Conversations. That's the podcast with Eric and I, which we should be having an episode coming out here pretty soon. We're going to talk about the moon landing, or lack thereof, whatever that means. Not going to go into it, but yes, we're going to have an episode coming out soon on the moon landing. It's going to be amazing. You guys are going to love it, so stay tuned for that. But today, we're going to talk about some of the headlines that are in the news. And of course, everything you're going to see right now is going to be about shootings, about mass shootings. Mass shootings are running the news these days again, and there's a reason for that. For starters, I'm going to show you some of these headlines that the mainstream media have been reporting about these mass shootings, and then I'm going to show you some other headlines that you haven't seen that are just as important, but they don't have the same effect. They tell a different story, so you haven't been hearing about it, but they're just as important. You have probably heard about the massage parlors that were shot up. Now, 8 people died, including 6 Asian women. Sorry about my broken hand, but yeah, I've only got 8 fingers, actually, including 2 thumbs. So anyways, the headline was, suspect in Atlanta spa attacks is charged with 8 counts of murder. 6 of the 8 people were women of Asian descent. Here's another headline here. Suspect in Atlanta spa attacks is charged with 8 counts of murder. 6 of the 8 people killed were women of Asian descent, setting off a new wave of outrage and fear. You need to be scared, Asian people. They're coming for you. Now, you may not know this, but he was actually interviewed, interrogated, whatever, and he explained his motive. I'm going to read his explanation to you. It took me quite a bit to find this, but I was able to find it, and I'm going to read it to you so that way you can see what he said his motive was. The suspect, a 21-year-old white man from the Atlanta suburbs, denied being driven by such bigotry. He told the police that he had a sexual addiction and saw the spas as an outlet for something that he shouldn't be doing. So he told these people after he was arrested that the reason he did this is because he has a sexual addiction. Why isn't that in the headlines? Because a pervert goes into a massage parlor and kills people just doesn't sound that good. No, we need race, we need hate, and we need conflict. So a white man goes in and kills Asian women. How much more conflict do you need than that? So that's the reason why this is what you see in the headlines. And everybody, Trevor Noah goes out and just gets freaking belligerent with it. And he's like, you kill 6 Asians. How are you not racist? And it's like, 6 Asians were in the parlor. I understand that. Now, don't get me wrong. The guy's fucking horrible. He's an idiot. He's a sicko. He needs probably whatever the worst punishment he can get given to him, okay? He's going to be in prison for the rest of his life at least. It's crazy. I'm not condoning anything he did. Absolutely not. The guy's a fucking psycho, but I'm letting you know that it probably was not because they were Asian. There's an agenda here. This is politically... My fucking phone went... I wonder if I'm ever going to do a video where my phone doesn't go off. If you know anything about me or my past videos, my phone goes off every frickin' time, and I'm sorry. I'm just a big, fat, stupid idiot, and one of these days I'm going to learn, and I'm going to put it on silent. I mean, I'm not even doing it right now. I should do it right now so I don't have this problem again, but for some reason I'm not doing it because I don't learn, because I have a short attention span, and I move on way too quick. Moving on. So now this leads me to the second mass shooting that has happened in just over a week, and the situation happened in Boulder, Colorado. This guy went into a shopping center and killed 10 people, including one which happen to be law enforcement. And so, of course, the mainstream media never gets behind the police. They never get behind law enforcement. They always get behind whatever racial group happens to be the victim of police crime, essentially. That's something that's going to obviously drive anger into the hearts and minds of a lot of people, and for good cause. Don't get me wrong, that's still freaking horrible. All lives are precious. I think that it sucks that this happened, but again, we're trying to break down why they're reporting it in a way that they are. You're not hearing anything about race because of the fact that there's nothing there. In fact, the guy himself is Syrian, so you can't say he was racist because he was Syrian. And nobody can be racist except for white people. I don't know if you guys know this, but in 2020, 41,000 people died from gun violence. On average, that is roughly 3,400 people per month and 112 people per day. So why did they pick these 10? Why did they pick these 8? Again, racially driven. They want us angry, sad, upset. They just want our emotions on alert. And also because they've got laws that they're trying to pass. They're trying to fuck with the Second Amendment. Again, I'm not going to give you my opinion on that. Whatever you guys believe is your own thing. But I'm going to give you some headlines that I found that didn't make the mainstream news, that you didn't see in the news because, one, it didn't tell the racist story that they're always trying to go for, or it just didn't have an emotional impact like some of these other ones. All of these murders and crimes are horrible and they deserve attention, not just the ones that feed a specific agenda. Okay, so I'm going to give you some of these other headlines, some of these other stories, and give you the opportunity to see what else is going on and tell you why I think they didn't make the news. So here's one story. Man fatally shoots teen brother in Vegas Strip hotel room. Now, he shot his teen brother. That's fucking horrible. It sucks. It is. It's horrible. Now, this didn't make the mainstream media because of the fact that, to them, it didn't seem to be that important. Now, we got to try and figure out why that is. It's because it doesn't push their agenda. The guy accused of shooting his brother was African American. Now, that goes against the story that they're trying to push, that crimes against African Americans are on the rise, and it's something that we need to be focused on 100%. Now, I don't disagree with that, but I think that they should focus on all of them. All of them should be newsworthy, not just the ones that feed their political agenda. Toledo police attempting to identify suspect in West Toledo shooting. Let's look into it. Hey, wouldn't you know it? This looks like a 20, 30, 40-year-old black man. Let's see. A black male from a gray-silver SUV. That's like in the third paragraph, finally. That's crazy. They finally say the suspect is a black male. My Lord. Anyways, here's another headline. Police seek tips to ID man and woman wanted in Detroit gas station shootings. Now, according to the photos here, I don't have to tell you why it didn't make the mainstream news, but let's just dig a little deeper and we can probably figure out why. Let's just see. It's not clear at this time why the victim may have been targeted. But let's talk about the suspects here. What do they look like? Suspect number 1 is described as a black male about 6 foot tall. Suspect number 2 is described as a black female. So a black male and a black female, and it's not giving me any descriptions of the victim here, but maybe we'll get that in a little later on. But either way, my point is this doesn't feed their narrative. It doesn't drive them to pass these racially motivated laws that have been all over the news for the past year, ever since George Floyd. I mean, it's been going on for a while, but this last year has been insane, and for good cause. I mean, don't get me wrong, the shit that happened to George Floyd is fucking horrible. I don't believe that it was murder. I don't believe the guy intentionally killed George Floyd. I believe that it was out of negligence because he's a fucking idiot, but He did everything that he was supposed to do. Maybe did it a little bit longer than he was supposed to do it, but regardless, he did it by the book. George Floyd, again, let's just talk about that story alone. Why that was put out there the way that it was. And I'll tell you the reason it was is because of what happened last summer. You saw rioting everywhere. Cities burned to the ground because of the fact that people legitimately saw a video, and this is all they saw in the video. An arrogant, freaking middle-aged white man with his knee on the neck of a black man, and he was staring at the camera with his angry, shitty grin while this guy suffocated, while this guy died, allegedly suffocated and died. What people didn't see, and this video was put out there to everybody. I mean, it was all over every bit of social media. It was all over the news. They played this video, this cell phone footage of these people that were at the scene. They played it over and over and over and over again, and people got extremely emotional and angry, and you saw what happened. Now, here's what you didn't see, and the mainstream media had the ability to show this to settle the emotions of these people, but they didn't show it. Most of you probably still haven't seen this other footage, but when the body cam footage came out of the cops, you saw that George Floyd was inside of the police car. He was in there. They were going to go to jail. They were going to book him, and that was it. But when he was in that car, he was telling them, before they ever put any pressure on his body, before they ever put their knee on his neck, he was telling them he couldn't breathe and he wanted to get out of the car. He wanted to get out of the car. He said, "Get me out of here. I can't breathe." He kept saying please over and over and over again. He was being extremely erratic, and it didn't make any sense because they were leaving him alone. They were like, "What the fuck?" Like looking at him like, "What the heck? What's wrong with this guy?" He kept saying, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Please, please, I can't breathe." And again, why that was? It wasn't because there was any pressure on his neck or his chest or his mouth or anything. The guy was telling them he could not breathe. And so when he was kneeling on his neck outside of the vehicle and he was screaming, "I can't breathe," he was probably just thinking he was acting exactly the same way he was acting when he was inside of the vehicle, because he was. And so anyways, they were going to take him to jail. And you could see the guy wouldn't cooperate. He was stopping them from shutting the door. He wouldn't let them shut the door so that they could drive away. And they said, "Please stop, or we're going to take you out of the vehicle and restrain you again." And finally they did. They took him out, put him to the ground, and they restrained him until other people could show up and take him away. Now, again, when he became unresponsive and wasn't moving whatsoever, I believe that the cops should have had the wherewithal to know that, hey, something's not right here. I should probably fucking stop. But no, he waited until paramedics, ambulance showed up, and then finally got off of him, and then they picked him up, and he was limp. Like, the guy was freaking... It sucks. I watched it myself, and it was freaking horrible. I hated it. But when I saw the whole story, then my emotions came full circle. I was like, okay, well, I can understand how this happened. It fucking still sucks, but you know, it just sucked. But they didn't play any of that other footage because they needed our emotions high. They needed people doing what they were doing, and why, I don't know. I mean, I have my beliefs, but I'm not going to get into that because that's the type of shit that'll get me censored, and I don't want to do that right now. So you don't have to be a genius to see they manipulated the fuck out of that story, and it was, the outcome was fucking horrible. It's really bad. It still is. I mean, there's still shit going down from that stuff, and it's crazy, man. I need to apologize. For one, I'm losing my mind. I'm losing track of what it is that I'm trying to say because these stories and the way that the mainstream media is reporting them is starting to drive me nuts. But I mean, I had a goal here. I was just going to go over some statistics and actually show you that our panic and the way that things are being reported and the way that the world looks at this whole picture is completely wrong, and it's false, and it's built on a lie. I did some research, and I'm going to share this research with you guys because it's vital in understanding what the hell is going on and what the mainstream media is doing to us. The mainstream media is going to have you believe that the whole system is racist. Police are systemically racist and against black people, and you know, that we have a huge problem. Now, the only way that we can figure out the truth behind this is by actually doing some research. You can't listen to the mainstream media because literally if you watch the news, you're going to believe that the coronavirus is the worst thing to ever happen in the world and that police are systemically racist. you have to turn off your TV and you have to do your own research to see what's actually going on. And that's what I did here for you, and I'm going to share it with you. In 2019, roughly 25% of the people who were killed by cops were black people. Now, a majority of these were black people who were armed or at least threatening the police officer in some way. Now, at most, roughly 27 of them were actually unarmed black people who were killed by police. And this is from 2019. This is where I got these figures, was 2019. Now 13.4% of the U.S. population is black. 73% of the U.S. population is white. So in a perfect, equal world, you would assume that black people make up 13.4% of the people who are killed by police every single year. But that's not the case. The number is 25%. So we need to figure out why that number is higher. Now, the mainstream media is going to tell you that the number's higher because the police are systemically racist. They hate black people. They're out there killing them in huge numbers every single year. And black people are the most likely to be killed by the police. Like, people believe that 100% because that's what the mainstream media, that's how they portray this. And there was actually a poll done where they asked a number of Americans. Now, they asked conservatives, liberals, they asked everybody this question, and they asked, how many unarmed black people do you believe died last year? And a majority of the people answered over 1,000. They thought at least 1,000 or more unarmed black people were killed by police last year. Now, again, that number is actually no more than 27. It could be less, but it depends on where you get your reporting from. But that number is absolutely no more than 27 because that was the highest number reported. Unarmed black people killed by police last year. That's crazy. And again, the mainstream media is reporting it in a way where people legitimately think that more than 1,000 unarmed black people were killed by police last year. And it's, again, you would think that by just watching the news. That's why I tell people, shut off the fucking news. It's bad for you. You are going to be misinformed, not informed by watching the news. And it's true. It sucks, man. It's infuriating. It's infuriating. It makes me furious. One of those words. I can't remember what the hell I was trying to say there. But yeah, it's ridiculous, man. So why is that number higher? The only way we're going to figure this out is by looking at the data, by looking at the actual numbers, not listening to the news. So I did the research, and again, I mean, you need to make sure you get your shit right, because the minute you start questioning the mainstream media on issues like race, you need to make sure you do your research and you have statistics and numbers to back that shit up, because they will call you racist immediately. You will be labeled a racist by getting this shit wrong. So I'm not just going out there talking shit and being mean to people and acting erratic. I'm legitimately doing the research because I want to make sure that I'm getting the right answers here, and I'm looking at the data correctly and giving them to you the right way, because I don't want to fucking lie to you guys. I mean, and if any of this information is wrong, it's because I was wrong. It's not because I'm lying to you. It's not because I'm trying to give you the wrong information. It was just like I screwed up, but I made sure I did my research. Now, the most recent data that I could find was from 2017, and this was from the Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation's website. So I'm going to read off of this because I want to make sure that I'm getting the numbers right. In 2017, of the murders committed with a gun in the United States, 3,252 of them were committed by white people. 3,263 were committed by black people. Now, those numbers are very close to the same. Although there's 5 times more white people in the United States than there are black people, the amount of murders committed with a gun by black people and white people are almost equal. Now, of those, white on black crime was 264. Black on white crime, 576. That means twice as many white people died by the hands of a black person with a gun than the other way around. So, yes, there does seem to be some type of a racist issue here, but it's not what you think. It's the opposite of what you've been taught all these years. Do you know who else was twice as likely to kill a white person than a black person in 2017? The police. That's right, the police. Only 223 black people were killed by police, while 457 white people were. That's more than double. So I'm confused here. If white people and black people are committing gun murders at the same exact rate, then how come the cops are killing twice as many white people than black people? It doesn't make any sense. This should be, especially when you listen to what the mainstream media has to say, this should be the other way around, and it shouldn't even be close. It's not because cops are racist. If anything, it's because gun murder crimes are racist. That's right, the crimes themselves are actually racist. Because the same amount of black people commit gun murders than white people, regardless of the fact that there are 5 times more white people in the United States than there are black people. The numbers just don't make sense to me. The only reason for this is because of how the mainstream media reports this stuff. They report this as if unarmed black people are at a much greater risk of dying by the hands of the police on a genocidal level. Like, they make it seem extreme, but it's not. It's not how they're reporting. It's not really what it seems. And in fact, it's not even showing traces of racism whatsoever. The facts are just not there. It doesn't back up this racist frickin' narrative that the mainstream media reports every single day. We should be accurate with these numbers because, for one, we don't want to scare people. We don't want to create unnecessary panic. And look what happened last year. It was complete chaos, and it's because people legitimately believe that black people are at an extremely high risk of dying by the hands of the police because of this systemically racist frickin' police force, which is just there's no facts to back that up whatsoever. And in fact, the facts point in the opposite direction. So what the hell? I mean, what do you? That's why I get so frustrated, because I know it wasn't until I actually did the research that I realized how fucking backwards it was. But I knew that the mainstream media was lying about it. I knew it wasn't as bad as they portrayed it. I just didn't think it was so fucking far off, you know? That means that Black Lives Matter could potentially be campaigning on a lie. I think they know that, but realistically, I mean, look at how much money surrounds Black Lives Matter. Last year, we had every single sport, almost every single team, Black Lives Matter all over their jerseys. There's so much money surrounding that. If we didn't have racism, we wouldn't have Black Lives Matter. All that money would be gone. So, again, I'm not saying that I don't agree with what Black Lives Matter stands for on the surface. I'm just saying that there's a very good chance that it has been built on lies. Anyways, I'm going to have to stop right there before I go over the friggin' top and lose my frickin' skull. But I guess you guys probably get the point. I just wanted to make sure that the statistics were there so you had something to think about. And I encourage you, do your own research. Look this stuff up. You're going to see the same thing. It's actually, a lot of it's really hard to find. You're going to have to dig pretty good. But most of the stuff is filled with propaganda. They're going to say, black people are way more likely to die than... Just look for the hard stats. Just look for the numbers. That's all you need to see, not what they project it to be. You need to look at what the numbers were in 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. Go back to the most recent year, and when you say, well, Jeremy, there wasn't racism in 2017, I'm going to tell you, hey, for one, you're an idiot. Two, I'm going to say Black Lives Matter was created back in 2013, I believe. So it's been around for a while. Anyways, I'm going to have to stop it right there, guys, for real. This time I am for real. Anyways, thanks again for watching. Please subscribe to the Uncensored Truth on YouTube. Please like the Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And then also, please subscribe to the Mic Drop, Mildly Intelligent Conversations YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook and them other social media pages. And then all of this is going to be available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcasts as well. So please subscribe to that stuff. If you can help out financially at all, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to give you the PayPal. Going to set up a patron soon. And until then, I just want to give you the PayPal address. It's @TruthHero. Please, if you can do anything, @TruthHero, @TruthHero. If you can send anything, I would greatly appreciate it. Everything helps, and it's a great way to support the show. So if you can send any money whatsoever, please send it to @TruthHero on PayPal. And then again, once our Patreon gets up and going, I'm going to let you know about it, and that's going to give you some bonus content. We're going to put out a lot of content once we start having that flying. So yeah, I really appreciate you sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the first episode. I promise you this is going to get better and better with every episode. I'm going to try and make it more structured. I just wanted to put something out because it's been a while since the channel's been created, and I kind of started a welcome video on there just so you guys could have an idea what the show was going to be about. but I wanted to put out the first episode soon. Probably should have recorded a few of them, but again, it's hard to do that in advance when you're trying to stay current with the day's headlines. So, yeah, that's the way I did it. Hopefully it was good. If it wasn't, then I apologize. I promise you it's going to get better, though, you guys. So thank you for watching. I really, really, really appreciate it. And until the next time, keep your eyes open because there's some shit going on.